Today we'll be exploring the topic uncovering the cause of miscarriage. Miscarriage is a deeply distressing experience, and for many couples, the lack of answers can add to the emotional burden. To begin, let me introduce a case scenario. Kathy, a 35-year-old woman, has just found out she's pregnant, but instead of joy, she feels anxious. Over the past year, she had 2 unexplained miscarriages. Despite living a healthy lifestyle, no investigations were done. Now, Kathy and her husband have turned to a fertility clinic to uncover the cause and improve their chances of a successful pregnancy. To understand Kathy's case better, we need to consider her and her husband's blood compatibility. Kathy has blood group B with a possible genotype of IB, IB or IBI. She's Rh negative and produces anti-A and anti-D antibodies. Her husband is blood group A, likely IAIA or IAI, and he is Rh positive with anti-B antibodies. Based on Kathy's history, several initial hypotheses were considered. This included genetic abnormalities, hormonal imbalance, immunological rejection, placenta development issue, a weakened cervix, and advanced maternal age. After evaluating all these factors, the most likely cause pointed to Rh incompatibility.
Let's talk about Rh incompatibility and immune response initiation. So during pregnancy, Rh sensitization can happen when RBCs from the fetus, specifically those carrying the Rh antigen, they enter mother's bloodstream. And this is called feto-maternal hemorrhage. If the mother is Rh negative and the fetus is Rh positive, her immune system may see the Rh antigen as something foreign, and this kicks off an adaptive immune response where first antigen presenting cells, specifically dendritic cells, they will engulf the fetal RBCs and present pieces of Rh antigen to naive CD4 plus T helper cells in nearby lymph nodes. These T helper cells are really important because they help to activate B cells, which also recognize the antigen. With the support from these T cells, the B cells multiply and become 2 types of cells. First, plasma cells, which make antibodies, and second, memory B cells, which stay in the body to remember the antigen in the future. At first, the antibody produced is IgM, which is good at fighting infections but too large to cross the placenta. Eventually, the body switches to producing IgG, which is smaller and can cross the placenta. Now, here's the critical part. The first Rh positive pregnancy, it is usually unaffected because this immune response takes time and is mostly IgM based. But in any subsequent Rh positive pregnancies, the memory B cells quickly react and produce IgG anti-D antibodies. These antibodies can cross the placenta, attack the fetus's RBCs, and potentially cause a serious condition called hemolytic disease of the fetus in newborn, or HDFN for short.
Hi, my name is Hamza, and I'll talk about fetal impact, specifically on how the anti-D immunoglobulin G crosses the placenta. The only class of immunoglobulin that can cross the placenta from mother to fetus are the anti-D immunoglobulin. This occurs via the active transport to the syncytial trophoblast of placenta using the neonatal Fc receptor. What happens next is these anti-D immunoglobulin antibodies bind to the antigens on the surface of the fetal red blood cells, and these trigger the T polioendothelial system, which is mostly spleen and liver, to destroy the red blood cells. This process is called opsonization. Eventually, this will lead to premature destruction of red blood cells, which will ultimately lead to anemia, jaundice, hydrops fetalis, and carnivorous.
Hi, I'm Izma, and I'll be talking about the complications of HDFN. A key complication of this immune destruction is anemia in the fetus. As red blood cells are broken down, the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood falls. The fetus attempts to compensate through increased erythropoiesis, especially in the liver and spleen, which leads to enlargement of both organs. However, in severe cases, the anemia overwhelms the compensatory mechanisms, leading to heart failure. The failing heart cannot efficiently pump blood, causing fluid to accumulate in fetal tissues and body cavities, a condition known as immune hydrops fetalis. Hydrops is recognized on prenatal imaging through signs such as skin edema, pericardial and pleural effusions, ascites, placentomegaly, and polyhydramnios. The enlargement of the spleen and the liver, as mentioned before, contributes to abdominal distension and worsens the fluid imbalance. The enlarged liver is also a result of both increased blood cell production and passive congestion due to heart failure.
Hi, my name is Cheryl, and I'll be talking about the treatment of Rhesus disease in babies. In some cases, early delivery may be recommended either by induction or C-section, so that treatment can begin right after birth. One common postnatal treatment is phototherapy, where the baby is placed under special lights with their eyes protected. The light helps break down excess bilirubin, allowing it to be excreted more easily by the liver. Intravenous immunoglobulin is often used alongside phototherapy. It works by blocking the breakdown of red blood cells by maternal antibodies. In more severe cases, a blood transfusion may be needed. This can be done after birth or even before birth through an intrauterine transfusion to replace damaged red cells and remove excess bilirubin and antibodies. Now let's talk about how to prevent rhesus sensitization. The first step is to determine the rhesus status of the mother. If the mother is rhesus positive, no further action is needed. But if she is rhesus negative, regular antibody screening and titers is done to check for sensitization. If sensitization has already occurred, the fetus rhesus status should be assessed, and if fetal anemia develops, treatment with intrauterine transfusion may be necessary. To prevent sensitization in the first place, raw D immunoglobulin is given. It contains passive anti-D antibodies that block the mother's immune system from making her own antibodies. There are two types: routine prevention, given at set times during pregnancy and after birth, and event-based prevention, given after events like bleeding or trauma that might expose the mother to fetal blood.
Aside from physical health, it's important to remember that maternal mental health matters too. Around 1 in 5 women face mental health challenges during or after pregnancy, not just feeling down but experiencing real emotional struggles. Coping strategies include seeking professional support, joining support groups, and practicing self-care through rest, mindfulness, and healthy habits. Addressing mental health early can make a big difference for both mother and baby.
So to wrap all up, Rh incompatibility happens when an Rh negative mother develops antibodies against her baby's Rh positive RBCs. These antibodies can cross the placenta and destroy the baby's RBCs, which leads to serious conditions like anemia, jaundice, or even heart failure before birth. But the good thing is early detection, treatments like intrauterine transfusion or postnatal care such as phototherapy and exchange transfusion, they can really help improve outcomes and prevent long-term complications. So this was all from us, Group 5. We hope you have a better understanding of Rh incompatibility. Thanks for watching.